Hi there, my name is Alicia and I'm a psychiatric nurse practitioner and I own my own private practice and I teach other psych NPs how to find freedom and balance in their lives by starting their own private practices as well. Today, as I share my morning coffee with you, we are going to talk about one of my most popular, frequently asked questions, and that is, how do I know when my private practice is full? Just something that I wanted to add. You may notice that I have a little bit of a different background today than my usual office, and that is because I am staying with family for a little bit. And that is just the beauty of owning your own private practice, is you can choose your schedule, choose where you're at. So I am staying with my family and I have this nice background and room to see my patients in and do my work in. And then in between my work, I'm spending time with my mom, dad, little brother. And so I want to encourage you that if you're looking to start your private practice because you want a more balanced life, it can be done. I run a full mentorship program on this, and there's info in the description. Enough about that, let's get into this topic of today's video. I'm going to start with giving you an answer that you're probably not going to like. And the answer is everybody is different. And so you are probably watching this video because you are just hunting for the answer to this question. I was too. And you probably have gone on Psych NP Facebook groups and people are arguing about, no, this is full, no, this is full, no, what you're saying can't possibly be full. And that's because everyone has a different definition. But I'm going to go through what goes into that definition and what could go into you calculating what would be full to you. So hopefully you'll get a comprehensive answer to this question today. So when people ask this question, it's not that they really want to know when their practice is going to be full. It's that they really want to know when their income is going to be predictable and when they're going to have a stable practice. It's really hard to be in that building mode where you are marketing, getting new patients, it's unpredictable how much you're going to make, etc. So you are really wanting to know, when is my practice going to be stable? And so I hope to also answer that question for you as well. We're going to start with talking about what goes into being full. And there are about 5 things that I identified that play into you being full or not. The first one is, how long are your sessions? Are you doing psychotherapy, which is usually 50 or 60 minutes? Are you doing med management, which is 30 minutes or 15 minutes? So how long are your sessions is the first one. Next is, how many days a week do you want to work? Is full to you 2 days a week? Is it 5 days a week? Is it 7 days a week? I hope not. Number 3 is, what is your income goal? Number 4 is, how much do you charge? And number 5 is, do you take cash or do you take insurance? So all of these things play into when you know when you're going to be full. And I should also note, how much you charge is important because that helps you kind of determine things, because if you charge higher rates, you have to see less patients to be full, or if you charge lower rates, you need to see more patients in order to be full. The reason I said cash versus insurance is that yes, cash is slower in the beginning, but you have more control over your fees and how much you make. And so this can kind of be an interesting element into deciding if you're full or not, if you are a cash practice versus an insurance practice. Next, I'm going to share with you some signs that you should look out for that are indicating that you and your practice are getting full. The first one is that you have a wait list. If you can't fit a new patient in for 4 to 6 weeks, that means you're pretty close to being full. Most patients do not want to wait 4 to 6 weeks for an appointment. And so that usually means that your schedule is pretty stacked and you're probably not going to be taking a whole lot more new patients, because patients are not going to book with you because they're not wanting to wait that long for an appointment. The next is, you have a predictable income. I look at my EMR and I look at my monthly income. And so I started to notice that, oh, okay, January, same amount. February, same amount monthly. March, same amount. And it really, would only vary a little bit. And so when you start to have that predictable income, it should be slowly going up, but pretty predictable and similar. That's when you know you're starting to get full. Another sign is that you can pay yourself your expected income or your income goal, and you can cover your overhead costs consistently. Lastly, the sign that you're starting to get full or are pretty full or over full even is that you're starting to wonder if you should quit your part-time job or whatever other jobs you have, and you're starting to wonder, should I go all in on my private practice? Do I need those extra days to do admin work, or do I need those extra days because I could add more patients on those days? Would it make more sense if I only have income from my private practice? That is definitely a sign that you're getting full. I hope that this is starting to make sense to you, that I might not be able to tell you a number of patients for you, but I can definitely tell you those signs to look out for. Next, I'm sure that a lot of you want specifics and numbers, and so if you are looking to build a private practice that's very similar to mine, I'm going to go ahead and tell you my personal experience. And so hopefully that helps you with some concrete numbers and an example of a real life private practice. For reference, I own a cash-based private practice, and my goal was always to work between 2 and 3 days a week. And I do a mix of psychotherapy and medication management. And so my therapy sessions are 60 minutes. And when I start with a patient, usually I'm seeing them weekly. And then with medication management, usually I'm seeing patients monthly until we come to a stable regimen. And then I'll usually see them every 2 to 3 months after that, depending on how complex their regimen is or if they're on a scheduled medication. After launching, it took me about 6 months to have a consistent income. At about the 6-month mark, at month 7, 8, 9, it was starting to be about the same, but slowly going up, but about the same. And at that time, I had about 50 active patients. Now, some of you might be saying, oh my gosh, that's so low. How is that possible? But if you think about it, when I was first starting out, I was seeing my psychotherapy clients every week. And so when you have several clients that you're seeing for psychotherapy and medication management, which when I did both combined, I would do 60-minute sessions, and you have a decent cash rate, you're pretty much gonna be filling up pretty quickly if you're seeing patients every week. It's harder to fill with medication management because you don't see them as often. So for me, 50 active patients was good enough to fill up 2 days. So at that point, I started slowing down just a little bit, and I started to consider adding that third day. But then something happened between month 6 and 12. A lot of my med management patients and psychotherapy patients actually started stabilizing. So I started seeing them less frequently. So then my therapy cases moved to every other week, and then my med management patients maybe moved to every 2 months or so. And so around the 6 to 12 month mark, even though I was slowing down a little bit, patients were also starting to be seen less frequently, and I was starting to have a lot more stable patients. And so at that point, I was still kind of slower than in the very beginning, but still taking new patients. So I was like getting full around that point. Then at about the year mark, I definitely had a predictable income. It was higher than my 6-month mark income. And I started to notice that I was filling up, 2.5 to 3 days. And I had about 75 patients, maybe 100 patients. That might have been, maybe 100 was at a 1.5 years, something like that. And so then at that point, my wait list was 4 to 6 weeks, because I started eventually, then somewhere between the year and year and a half mark, I started noticing about at 100 patients, even having most of them stable and a mix of psychotherapy and med management and integrative psychiatry, which integrative psychiatry sometimes requires longer visits. With all of that in mind, 100 patients was about the sweet spot for me where I feel full. I feel like I have those days that I wanted filled up. I have a predictable income, and I have an income that I can sustain myself at. And I don't feel like I need to get patients. If anything, at that point, I hired at around the year and a half mark, maybe 2 year mark, I hired another nurse practitioner to take my overflow because patients were starting to get frustrated, like, oh, I really want to see somebody, or I really want to see you, but your wait list is 4 to 6 weeks, can't you see me sooner, something like that. And I really didn't want to lose business. And so I hired someone else, someone to take my overflow. And so at that point, I really solidly at 100 patients, I felt full. I felt good. And so that's really about where I'm at now. I kind of fluctuate because now some patients discharge, they are getting stable, etc. And so, or they move. And so I'm usually fluctuating between like 100 and 110 patients. I do still take patients occasionally, those patients that are okay waiting the 4 to 6 week mark and still then they really, really want to see me. So they're okay with waiting. And so that's where I'm at. I'm almost at the 3 year mark with my practice at this point. And so I feel stable. I usually take one new patient a month, sometimes two, sometimes zero. So average is one, if that helps. That is pretty much my personal experience with being full. And I hope that this was really helpful to you. I know that I have several NP friends that take insurance and they want to work like 4 clinical days a week, and their panels are usually around like 200 or 300. And so, and they're seeing maybe like 3 patients an hour, whereas I see 2 patients an hour. So, there's just such variation, honestly. And something to look ahead to, I'm hoping to interview a lot of my mentees here on my YouTube channel, so that you guys can really get a good idea of not just my experience and hear from several other psych nurse practitioners that own practices. And so it's been a real joy for me to mentor just a variety of people. In my full private practice mentorship program, I'm filming this video in February of 2024, and right now we have 80 members. So we have psych NPs all across the US, and they're in my mentorship program. Some take insurance, some take cash. Everyone has different specialties. It's just a really diverse group. So it has been a joy for me to help so many different types of NPs achieve their goal of starting a business that is in line with their values and the lifestyle that they want. And so if you're interested in my full mentorship program, I would love to have you. There is a link down in the description, and you start by watching my masterclass and applying. And then at that point, you will hear from my team. And so please, if you felt like this was helpful, it really helps my channel for you to like, comment on the videos, and subscribe. Especially subscribing to my channel really helps. So thank you, and until the next video, take care.